Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is July 2nd, 2025, and Barcelona have set a historical record today. And I'm going to tell you what that record is. Also, reports stating that Javier Tebas has informed Barcelona that they are under the 1-1 rule. And finally, we have found out what the second reason is for Nico Williams cutting his vacation short and coming back to Spain. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is the Barca News Live Podcast, which is on every Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, my favorite days, where not only do we discuss Barcelona news, but we're also get to interact with you lovely people in the chat section by reading your comments, answering questions, and getting the discussion going live, which I love. I love it. For those of you who watching when the podcast ends, I will be putting timestamps in the description, and chat is in the timeline in case you do want to skip through the discussion, get straight into the news. Having said all that, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. That helps the channel continue to grow. If you're looking for any Barcelona jerseys, including the new home kit, make sure to hit the goal kits, kit bag, or Fanatics. And if you are looking to place any sports bets, not just on Barcelona matches, but on any sporting event around the world, make sure you hit the Bet Us. All links are down below in the description. You click on them, you get access to some pretty cool deals and offers. And with that, let's begin with the news. And as always, the first segment of news, it's comprised of multiple bits of news combined together for the sake of brevity. Starting that the very long-awaited day is finally here, as Barcelona have officially launched the 2025-2026 home kit. It's, of course, very similar to the leaks that we had seen all throughout last season, where you have the Blaugrana stripes kind of merged together, but this final version looks a little better because the previous versions that we had seen, it was there was no blend of color. It just looked like the stripes were not connected, like the red stripe would directly connect into a blue one and vice versa. But here with the real version, the final version, it's more like blended in. It's not a clear cut where it goes from blue to red. It more like starts to blend in slowly. It's like a gradient, I guess. And then eventually turns into, the color that it was blending into, and there is kind of a purplish hue to it. I gotta say, I do like the colors. I still don't like the kit. I think, the Blaugrana bars or the Blaugrana stripes should be, stripes. They shouldn't be all like merged in together, but I do think that the colors of this final version of the kit look better than the pictures we had seen in previous leaks, which of course makes me excited for the away kit, because remember, the away kit is the Black Mamba version. That's my favorite version, and if the colors of the home kit look better on the real one than the leaks, then who knows, maybe the away kit will be even better than what we've seen in previous leaks. So I'm very excited. Of course, that one is set to be released during the pre-season Asia tour. They're saying that Barcelona will be wearing that kit when they play against Iniesta's former team, Vissel Kobe, in Japan. And I gotta say, I'm very excited for that one. I really want that one. This one, again, looks better than the leaks. Not fully sold. But Barcelona have released a statement explaining why these bars, the Blaugrana stripes, are all like blended into together. And this is the statement that Barcelona issued to explain the design. The kit blends legacy with innovation and tradition with future. The classic Blaugrana stripes have been reimagined with new color gradations that inject rhythm and energy, two core qualities of Barca's style of football. The result is a purplish hue that crosses the stripes in diagonal, giving the shirt a sense of dynamism and acceleration. It is a tribute to the Blaugrana flags that wave in the street and the stadium on match days, now a symbol both locally and globally. So there you have it, folks. That's why these stripes are like blended into together. It's kind of like blending and rhythm and energy together, which because it's, how Barcelona play football. It's just bullshit. It's bullshit marketing. Empty words, but whatever. Like, that's what the club says. You have the explanation. You do what you will with that explanation. I do want to hear you guys' thoughts and opinions about the kit. Let me know. Do you like it? Do you not? Why not? Let me know in the chat section or in the comment section once we are done with the live podcast. Now, speaking of the kit, and this is the big news because, ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona have set a record for the most shirts sold in a single day in the history of the club. This is the most shirts that Barcelona have sold in a single day since the club was founded back in November 29, 1899. Huge day for Barcelona because, financially speaking, that's a huge boost. And of course, this just goes to show how big the Barcelona brand is, because remember, when this leaks of the home kit started to emerge, people were not too sold on it. But despite that, record sales, despite people not being huge fans of the kit, record sales, which goes to prove something I used to say in previous videos and podcasts. Remember when the whole Joao Felix things, Laporta was like, we have to sign Joao Felix. Xavi's like, I don't want him. We have to sign Joao Felix. Deco's like, I don't want him. We have to sign Joao Felix. And why was Laporta so obsessed with Joao Felix? Because to him, it was a marketing boost. If we brought Joao Felix, the stadiums was going to fill up. People are going to buy the kits. And I said, that's pure bullshit. People don't want to go to the stadium just to see a name. No, they want to see a name that performs, not just a name for the sake of a name. People didn't go see Messi just because his name was Messi. No, people went to the stadium to see Messi because he made magic on the field. And this is living proof of that, because despite this kit not being a huge success as far as the design, people are still buying it in record numbers. Why? Because the team is performing. And when the team is performing, people want to go to the stadium. People want to buy the kits. It's not about the design. It's not about the name on the back. It's about people want to see their team perform well. That's why they buy tickets. That's why they buy the kits. And this is proof of that, because, again, the most sold kits in a single day. Now, the next question about the kits. As you know, Barcelona were hoping to announce the number 10 kit for Lamine Yamal now that Ansu Fati is gone today, before the kit went on sale, so people can buy the number 10. But then yesterday I told you that Lamine Yamal had requested not to do it because he wanted that announcement be made on his birthday, on his 18th birthday, which is on July 13th. So in 11 days. And it looks like Barcelona have abided by that request. They have not released the number 10 kit for Lamine Yamal. Instead, if you go on the website, this is what you see. I'll make this bigger. Lamine Yamal, number 1, and a question mark. And it says, mystery number. Ooh, I wonder what the big mystery is, guys. What do you think it's going to be? 11? 12? 13? 15? Let me know your guesses in the chat section. I'm curious. Of course, I'm just kidding. Don't let me know your guess in the chat. We all know Lamine Yamal is going to be receiving the number 10 kit on July 13th when he turns 18 years old, which is also when his contract renewal goes into effect, linking the player until 2031, because, of course, you cannot sign underage players for more than 3 years. Now he will be 18 in a few days. He'll be able to sign for 6 years until 2031. And the crazy thing, by then, he's only going to be 24 years old. That's insane. But anyways, despite Barcelona not officially announcing the number 10 kit for Lamine Yamal, it was the highest selling kit today. The number 10 for Lamine Yamal. Of course, people already know that that's what Lamine Yamal is going to be getting. So today, the highest selling kit is Lamine Yamal with the number 10. Now, you might say, how are people doing this? Is because when you go to the Barcelona store, you can buy the blank kit and you can take it downstairs to the basement. They have a printer there. You tell them whatever player you want on there, whatever number, so they print it. So that's how people are buying the Lamine Yamal number 10, despite not being announced. I mean, if you wanted to buy the Pedri number 20, they can print that for you, right? So people buying the Lamine Yamal number 10 despite it not being announced. And again, what's the mystery, guys? What number is he going to get? Question mark. Oh, my God. I don't know. It's so much anxiety. I don't know. But anyways, so that's the news as far as the kit officially launched. Highest selling day of in the history of the club. Lamine Yamal, number 1 with the number 10. Oh, that was sounding confusing. The highest selling kit with the number 10. And now let's talk about something that was actually announced yesterday, but I kind of forgot to mention it. Well, actually, I didn't forget to mention it. I remembered, and then I said, no, let me leave that for the podcast. I want to do that live. I want to see what you guys' reaction. But we have to talk about the fixtures, because La Liga have officially announced the fixtures for the 2025-2026 season. And I have to say, I'm very, very excited. And here you have your first 3 matches of La Liga. La Liga will officially kick off on August 17th, 2025 against Mallorca. Then we'll play against Levante, and then we'll play against Rayo Vallecano. And as Barcelona requested, the 3 first matches of La Liga will be away. As you can see, Mallorca away, Levante away, Rayo away. And this, of course, was per Barcelona's request because they wanted more time to be able to get the Spotify Camp Nou ready. So La Liga granting Barcelona their requests. You know, if people want to say, oh, La Liga hate us, blah, blah, blah. I mean, yeah, they do have bias against us, but of course, they have approved our request. This is the second time they do it. Last season, Barcelona asked for home away matches in the first half of the season. La Liga complied, and this time they did as well, but only with the first 3 because that was Barcelona's request, only the first 3. Now, here we got more matches. Valencia, Getafe, Real Oviedo. They were recently promoted. Real Sociedad, Sevilla, Girona, and the first El Clásico match of the season, October 26th at the Santiago Bernabeu against Real Madrid, where hopefully we'll kick off the season with another ass whooping. And then we have Elche, Celta Vigo, the Cry Baby, the Bitch Club, Athletic Club de Bilbao on November 23rd. And then a day after my birthday, Alavés on November 30th. We have Real Betis, Osasuna, Villarreal, Español, Atlético Madrid, Real Sociedad, Real Oviedo, Elche, Mallorca, Girona, Levante, Villarreal, the Crybaby, Bitch Baby Club, Athletic Club de Bilbao, Sevilla, Rayo Vallecano, Atlético Madrid, Español, Getafe, Celta Vigo, Osasuna, and then bam, we have the second El Clásico match at the Spotify Camp Nou on May 10th against Real Madrid, the other crybaby of La Liga. And then Alavés, Real Betis, and finally, the last match will be against Valencia. So there you have it, folks, the entire calendar for next season. And of course, since I did mention the Spotify Camp Nou, I do have news about it because, ladies and gentlemen, the city of Barcelona have granted Barcelona's request to extend their contract for extended hours until August 2nd, because Barcelona had applied for a special permit that allowed them to work into the late night from 8 in the morning until midnight, Monday through Friday. And while Barcelona applied for an extension, the city have granted the extension. So Barcelona will be able to work late into the night until August 2nd in order to get the stadium ready for the Joan Gamper Trophy, which is when Barcelona aim to get back to the Spotify Camp Nou, as they will face off in the final friendly match of the season, of the preseason, against Como, led by the former Barcelona player Cesc Fabregas. All right, let's do the chat section, and then we are going to talk about the 1-to-1 rule. What's going on? Are we under the 1-to-1? Are we over the 1-to-1? Are we under the 120? What is happening? Is it 420? I don't know. Let's do the comments. And Mohammed Koroma says, hi, Mo. When Nico is coming to Barcelona, I'm just waiting for the official. Hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. They're saying Friday. We'll see. Lanray says also, so I'm a little worried about Nico and Yamal over dribbling on the wings. I noticed some lack of coordination when Spain is dribbling. I'm confident that Flick will fix that. Yeah, if there's anyone that can implement, discipline and, strictness, is Hansi Flick. I think that's the German in him. Germans are just, on the clock. On the clock. The best trains that run on time are German and Japanese trains. But we don't have a Japanese coach, so German it is. Joao de Almeida says Madrid will not be the same because they cannot bench Mbappe over Garcia or Garcia. Yeah, I guess. Real Diamond says, hi Mo, have been seeing a return to 1-1 every. How true is that? Hope is true. I'm super excited. Bisca Barca. We'll talk about it in a little bit. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Richard says, thoughts on putting a cap on transfer fees, thereby allowing more equity on teams being able to purchase top players and thereby making leagues more competitive. I don't think it would work. Because at the end of the day, let's say, all right, we implement a cap on a transfer. No player can be sold for more than, I don't know, 30 million euros, right? And here comes Barcelona. Here comes Valencia. Here comes Real Betis. Here comes Girona. They all now can afford to pay 30 million. And they all go to Nico Williams and say, all right, we can all afford to pay 30 million, which is the new cap. Who do you think Nico Williams is going to choose? He's not going to choose Valencia or Girona. He's still going to choose Barcelona. Because at the end of the day, it's not just the money that's triggering the transfer fee. It's also players want to play for the biggest clubs. Right? Players want to play for Barcelona, for Real Madrid, for Liverpool. You name it, right? All the big clubs. So I don't think it would work. Plus, putting a cap on fees could actually end up having the reverse effect. Because remember, these small clubs benefit from those big transfer fees whenever they grow someone through their academy and end up selling them, right? So, when Espanyol brings up Joan Garcia through their academy and sell him for 25 mil, that's actually beneficial for Espanyol because that's a quarter of their budget. Yes, Espanyol has a 100 million euro budget as opposed to Barca's that's 1 billion, right? So they actually benefit from that. Let's say we had capped it at 10 million. Now Espanyol is only getting less than half than what they'd be getting without the cap. So I don't think it would work. I don't think it would level the playing field. I think we're past the point of leveling the playing field. I think you just cannot fight with 100+ years of history, So yeah. Raul says, breaking, Perez is warmly working with his wife Tebas to make a new FFP to bring Barca to 1-7 rule. Yeah, I don't think. So I know you're joking, but I do want to say this because I have seen people kind of suggest something similar that, Florentino's always behind the destruction of Barcelona. Far, far from it. And I'll tell you why. Florentino Perez, unlike Javier Tebas, who's a moron, Florentino Perez is actually a very, very savvy businessman. And love him or hate him, he's a savvy businessman. I mean, he's one of the wealthiest and most powerful people in Spain. And he didn't become that by luck of the draw. He is a very, very savvy businessman. And as a savvy businessman, he understands that Real Madrid need Barcelona. And that Barcelona need Real Madrid. They both need each other. They have a symbiotic relationship where they both need to exist and they both need to be each other successful. Why? Because that generates a lot of money. If Florentino Perez were to work against, Barcelona and ends up destroying Barcelona, what do you think that would do to Madrid? Who wants to see Real Madrid versus, I don't know, Atletico Madrid or Girona? Nobody. But everybody around the world wants to see Real Madrid versus Barcelona. It's the most watched match in the entire world. Barcelona versus Real Madrid. So Florentino Perez, as a businessman, understands that Real Madrid need Barcelona to make money. And Barcelona need Real Madrid to make money. That's what keeps this league one of the most watched leagues in the world. And that's what keeps the money flowing. So, again, I know you're joking, but I do see a lot of people say, no, Florentino's not trying to do that. In fact, Florentino has helped Barcelona. Sixth Street, the firm that helped put Barcelona on one of the economic levers, who do you think made that introduction? Florentino Perez. The sale of the VIP seats, who do you think, whose idea was that? Florentino Perez. He told Laporta, hey, I did this with the Santiago Bernabeu. You should do it the same. So there's no truth behind that Florentino Perez is somehow trying to destroy Barcelona. That would be stupid. Okay? Because without Barcelona, who's going to watch La Liga? Same thing. Without Real Madrid, who's going to watch La Liga? It's like when people say, oh, Barcelona should leave the league and go where? League On? Who the fuck watches League On? Nobody. Is that what you want? No. People want to watch Barcelona versus Real Madrid in La Liga, in the Copa del Rey, in the Spanish Super Cup. So they both need each other. Remember that. So no, none is trying to destroy the other. All right, let's get back to the news because we do have to talk about the 1-1 rule, because earlier today reports started surfacing that Javier Tebas had informed Joan Laporta that Barcelona were under the 1-1 rule. Now, as you know, June 30th, so 2 days ago, was the final day of the 2024-2025 fiscal year. That's when all the clubs in La Liga, including Barcelona, closed their books, turned over their paperwork, and now La Liga will go over the paperwork and decide each club's wage cap, based on how much each club made, spent, whether they lost money, whether they made money or broke even. And reports started stating that Javier Tebas had called Barca and said, hey, you're under the 1-1 rule. It's not official yet, but you will be achieving it. Now, despite the multiple reports stating this, Mundo Deportivo have reported that that's actually not true, that Barcelona have confirmed to Mundo Deportivo that Javier Tebas has not told them anything, that nobody from La Liga has told them anything, because Barcelona are still not under the 1-1 rule. Now, does that mean Barcelona are not going to be under the 1-1 rule? No. And here's why. Because Barcelona are yet to receive the audit report from the auditor Crow. Remember, back in December, Barcelona sold rights to the VIP seats at the Spotify Camp Nou. Some VIP seats, I think it was 450 or 435, something like that. In exchange for 100 million euros, Barcelona notified La Liga of this operation, and La Liga put Barcelona under the 1-1 rule. But then Barcelona hired an auditor. The auditor looked at all Barcelona's finances and made a report stating that Barcelona could not account for those 100 million euros as profit because the seats were not built yet. So when the auditor did that, Barcelona had to inform La Liga, and La Liga said, okay, well, if you don't have the 100 million, or if you can't count the 100 million, then you're not under the 1-1 rule. They took them off again. Now, since the fiscal year is closed, Barcelona have requested from Crow to do a new audit. And this time, Barcelona are confident that the 100 million euros from the seats will count. Why? Because now the seats have been built, right? Initially, Crow said, no, you can't count it because the seats are not built. Now the seats are built. So Barcelona are now confident that Crow will issue a report stating that, yes, the seats are built. The 100 million euros can count towards Barcelona's profits. This hasn't happened yet. But once it happens, once Crow issues that report, Barcelona will turn over that report to La Liga. And that's when Barcelona are confident they will achieve the 1-1 rule. And also, Barcelona have balanced their books a little more, especially with the departure of Clement Lenglet. Huge salary off their books. The departure of Ansu Fati, plus the contract extension. Huge salary off their books. Plus, Barcelona are going to be offloading more players in the next few days, like Pablo Torre, Pau Victor, Iñaki Peña, maybe Ter Stegen if he agrees to leave, maybe Christensen if he agrees to leave. So all this together, Barcelona are confident that they will achieve the 1-1. They're not there yet, but they will get there. So it's not about whether it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. But Barcelona have informed Mundo Deportivo that no, nobody has called them to let them know they're under the 1-1. And I believe that report over the previous ones. Why? Because we still don't have the Crow report. So why would Javier Tebas tell, hey, Barca, you're under the 1-1 when he still hasn't received the reports that would make Barcelona under the 1-1 rule? So hopefully that clarifies it. When it happens, of course, I'll be here to tell you about it. So if you haven't subscribed, make sure you do. Now, I do want to clarify one thing, because I've noticed some people don't understand what it means to be under the 1-1 rule. 1-1 rule doesn't mean infinite money. Because remember when we went back under the 1-1 rule for a few weeks after the VIP seats, people were like, oh, now we can sign Gyökeres and Mbappe and Haaland and everybody. And it's like, no. 1-1 rule just means that for every euro you make from the sale of the player, you can use to sign a new player. That's it. That means if you sell Frankie de Jong for 100 million euros, you can take the entire 100 million you just made and sign another player. The whole 100. Right now, we're under the 60% rule, which means if we sell Frankie for 100 million, we can only use 60 out of those 100 to sign someone else. Okay? That's all it means. That for every euro you make from the sale of the player, you can use it to sign someone. But you still have to make that euro. 1-1 doesn't mean all of a sudden Barcelona wake up, open their checking account, and we have 10 billion euros just sitting there. No. It's not magic. The sky's not going to open and money's going to start raining. You still have to make the money. It just means that you can use that money to sign players. That's it. So hopefully that clarifies it. And with that, let's do the chat section. And then we will talk about Nico Williams because it's been revealed the second reason why he cut his vacation short. I told you about the first one yesterday. Ooh, balloons. All right, let's see. Pedri says, quick question. Ooh, Pedri, what are you doing, bro? You're on vacation. Enjoy yourself. Says, quick question. If Barca ever managed to sign Haaland, wouldn't he generate more money than we pay him, similar to what Messi did for us? Maybe, but you still have to sign him. And where are we going to get the money to sign him? I mean, if I bought a Ferrari, sure, maybe I can make more money that I spend on it by renting it out. But guess what? I still don't have the money to buy the Ferrari in the first place, right? You know, if I was able to buy 10 rental properties, I would make more money off those rental properties than what I would spend on buying them. But guess what? I don't have money to buy 10 rental properties. Diamond says, hi, Mo, please tell me that the truth. Is it true that Barcelona... Okay, so I just addressed that. I don't want to be repetitive. Constantine says, great day to be a culé. Finally, we are financially stable. Laporta needs to have a statue. Not there yet. Not 1-1 rule yet. And we're not out of the financial trouble. Remember, 1-1 just means for every euro you make, you can spend it on a signing the player. That's it. That does not erase the 1.3 billion euro debt that we have. So let's not start, popping a champagne bottle thinking that's it. We're back to glory days. There's still a lot of work to do. Now, having said that, of course, we can give credit where credit is due, which is Laporta and his board have done a great job in steering the ship right. But the ship is not out of the storm yet. It's getting better. The storm is starting to pass over, but we're still not out yet. Yusuf says, Mo, Lamine just changed his Insta profile pic to number 19. Is Nico really going to get the number 10? No. Nico's not going to get the number 10. It's Lamine Yamal. He's getting the number 10. But he asked from the club that they announced it on his birthday, July 13th. And that's what Barcelona have decided to do, which is wait until his birthday. Al-Haji says, hi, Mo. My name is Al-Haji Bieber. Says, hi, I'm from Sierra Leone. Any update for Nico? So I just updated about the 1-1. We'll talk about Nico in a little bit. And Lucky says, when is the shirt going to be on sale on Fanatics? I'm not sure, but if you go to Goal Kits, it should be on there already. Fanatics usually is a little bit more late. Goal Kits. Sorry. Is that what I'm talking? Goal Kits? Kitbag. Sorry. Kitbag is owned by Fanatics, but Kitbag is the football store of Fanatics. Fanatics is more like a sports store. They sell all the sports. Kitbag is owned by Fanatics, but it's just the football stuff. So usually the new kits will go on to Kitbag first, and then they follow on Fanatics. I don't know how much longer after, but Kitbag usually carries it first. And also Goal Kits should already have it. Billy says, I believe the Nico situation when I see him sign the contract. And Holly says, Balde can now be more defensively dominant with support. With the support the side attack not carrying it all. I 100% agree with that, because I think one thing that was really affecting Balde and why sometimes he would be left exposed is because he was covering the entire left flank by himself. Because since Rafinha is not really a left winger, Rafinha played a lot through the middle, even though he was technically on paper a left winger. So that left Balde to cover that entire left flank, and that's a lot for a player to cover. I mean, you're talking about the whole field from one end to the other, offense, defense, you name it. So with the help of a proper left winger, and when I say proper, I don't mean that Rafinha sucks or something like that. I'm just saying like an actual natural left winger then that was going to help. But yes, I do agree. But anyways, let's get back to the news because we do have to talk about Nico Williams, because we now know the second reason why the Athletic Club de Bilbao attacker, soon to be Barcelona attacker, has cut his vacation short and returned to Spain. Now, yesterday I told you that Nico Williams has done this in preparation for his move to Barcelona, because Barcelona are planning to activate his release clause on Friday, July the 4th. Let's see if they stick to that deadline, hopefully. But the goal is to do it at least before July 9th, which is when Athletic Club de Bilbao's preseason begins. And Nico Williams has asked the club, please, I want this done before July 9th, because he doesn't want to have to go to training and be like, hi, guys, I know I told you I'm leaving. I know I cleared my locker. But is it okay if I trade with you, a few days while Barcelona figures how to pay for me? So Nico Williams has requested that Barcelona trigger his release clause before July 9th. They're planning on July 4th for America's birthday. And that's why he had cut his vacation short, returned to Spain in order to sign the power of attorney, which gives Barcelona the power to activate the clause on behalf of Nico. Because remember, when you sign a contract, that's between you and that club. So Nico signed a contract between him and Athletic Club de Bilbao. So the release clause is technically he has to pay the release clause to break that contract that he has between him and Athletic Club de Bilbao. Obviously, he can't. Nico Williams doesn't have 62 million euros laying around to break his own contract, or maybe he does. I don't know. So he has to sign that power of attorney to Barcelona so Barcelona can pay it on his behalf. So that's why he cut his vacation short. That's why he returned to Spain in anticipation for his move. But there's a second reason that we found out, and that's to confront his agent, Felix Tainta. Now, during Monday's podcast, I explained to you why earlier that day reports started to surface that Nico Williams had requested from Barcelona guarantees of registration. They had even insisted that Barcelona sign a clause in the contract guaranteeing his registration immediately upon his signing. And of course, later on, reports started saying that that wasn't true. And I came on here and explained to you why those reports had emerged. Why? Because it was actually Felix Tainta who had done that, not Nico Williams. Felix Tainta feeling pressure from Athletic Club de Bilbao because he represents 85% of their players. So that's the hand that feeds him. So Felix Tainta, feeling the pressure from the hand that feeds him, decided to insert a clause into the contract that said that if Barcelona didn't register Nico Williams immediately upon signing, if Barcelona signed him on July 5th, they had to register him. And if not, Nico Williams would be allowed to leave for free. So in other words, the 62 million euros that Barcelona paid, down the drain. Of course, Barcelona called them and said, what do we look to you, stupid? Like, no, we're not doing that. Then they called Nico, and Nico was like, I didn't do that. I didn't ask for that. I'm coming to Barca. My mind is made up. There's no looking back. I don't care if you guarantee my registration or not. I don't care if you want to sign that clause or not. I'm coming, period. That's it. So now Nico Williams has found himself in a place where his agent is doing whatever the fuck he wants versus doing what the player is actually asking him to. So that has not sat well with Nico Williams. And that's the second reason why he has decided to return to Spain, cut his vacation short, to go to Felix Tainta and say, bro, you're my agent. You're supposed to act on my behalf. In other words, you're supposed to do what's best for me and what I ask you to do for me. Not what you want to do because Athletic Club de Bilbao put pressure on you because you represent most of their players. So Nico Williams not happy with Felix Tainta whatsoever. And in fact, Nico Williams' family not happy with Felix Tainta. They're saying there's already been a lot of arguments and discussions between Nico Williams' family and the agent. And now that Nico's back in Spain, I'm sure he's letting him have it. Honestly, if I was Nico, I would fire him. That is malpractice. I cannot go acting however I want when my client is telling me something different. I would lose my license as a lawyer. So if I was Nico, I would definitely fire him because you just can't do that. You can't just because, you felt pressure from your employer, from Athletic Club because, you represent a lot of their players. Yeah, but you don't represent them. You represent Nico. And if Nico asks you to do something, you have to do that. You don't go doing what the club is asking you just because you represent a lot of their players and you feel like you might lose some of those players and you might lose money. You don't represent the club. You represent Nico Williams. So Nico back in Spain, ready for his transfer to Barcelona and ready to get into it with his agent. All right, let's get back to the chat section, and then we are going to talk about 2 requests that Hansi Flick has made from the club. Klaus says, I agree about the symbiotic relationship, and I have had this same conversation with another Barca fan. Of course you did, Klaus, because you're a reasonable man. You know, it's like, I can't tell you about, you know, all these people. Oh, Florentino wants. And it's like, no, he doesn't. Florentino's actually helped Barcelona on multiple occasions. Now, of course, in front of the cameras, Laporta, Florentino, they have to maintain certain appearances, right? The two of them are actually very close. They're very good friends, have a great relationship behind closed doors. But in front of the cameras, of course, they have to, fuck Madrid, fuck Barcelona, yeah, just to keep the rivalry alive. It's kind of like, before a UFC fight, and then the fighters are talking shit, and they're smacking each other, and they're pushing each other. Most of the time, they're good friends, and they're just putting up an act just to, fuel the rivalry, just so they could sell more tickets. It's the same thing in football. Okay, it's no different. It's the same thing in football. But anyways, let's see. What's next? Choo Choo. What's up, Choo Choo? Choo Choo, I haven't seen you in a while in the chat section, but Choo Choo says exactly. Real Madrid and Barca need each other. I keep saying that. 100%, my friend. 100%. And Yusuf says, hello, Mo. I will be so excited to see Nico Williams and Lamine Yamal destroying Real Madrid in El Clásico, because I want to see Real Madrid continue crying like babies every season. 100% agreement with you, my friend. I really hope to see that too. And Holly says, I bet that all changes with Xabi Alonso, I hope it whooped them just the same, but it looks like the changes are in order in Real Madrid right now. I'm going to be honest. I haven't really watched that much Real Madrid. I've seen a few minutes here and there. I saw a little bit against Juventus and then got bored out of my freaking mind and turned it off. I saw a little bit of, was it the Pachuca match or was it the Salzburg match? I can't remember, but I've seen a few minutes here, a few minutes there, and honestly, I didn't see any changes. It looked to me like the same Madrid under Ancelotti, very flat, very slow, no ideas, no chance creation, just slow and sluggish. I didn't see much, but of course, that is not really a good way to judge them, because after all, Xabi Alonso's just arrived. So, his idea is not going to be implemented immediately. It's going to take time. Also, it is the Club World Cup, and the players are tired and probably are not even that motivated to win it. So, I saw the same Madrid, but at the same time, I'm not saying that's what we're going to see in a season, because during a season, they're going to be a lot more motivated. But we'll have to wait and see. Corazon says, I love how the propaganda narrative generating bots always flee when you say the truth. Yeah. And Chamot says, hey, Mo, what about Dumfries? Is Barcelona interested? According to Fabrizio Romano, he made a statement on that. So Dumfries, it looks like he's trying to leave Inter. I don't know why I forgot Inter. I guess they've been very unmemorable during the summer. I mean, they crashed out at the hands of, was it Fluminense? Fluminense, yeah. But it looks like he's trying to leave. At least that's what I read. And I guess he has a release clause worth 30 million euros. I honestly would want to see Dumfries on a team. I think he could. I mean, he absolutely cooked us during the two legs of the Champions League. But of course, the problem is the money situation, the financial fair play. We're very, very tight. Barcelona are like crunching numbers and counting pennies to be able to sign and register Nico and to be able to register Joan Garcia. And I don't see Barcelona having then still money left over to sign someone like Dumfries, even though it's 30 million. But, that's the kind of situation we are. I think any other year where Barcelona were flushed with money and no problem with the financial fair play, I'm pretty sure Barcelona would have jumped on this. I would. I mean, he was absolutely killing us on that left flank because he plays on the right. But I don't know if Barcelona would have enough financial fair play and enough money to sign him. Hopefully. I mean, again, Barcelona right now, the main priority is trigger the release clause of Nico, register him, and register Joan Garcia. And then Rooney Bargi, which is not going to take much, 2 million euros to sign him. His salary is probably going to be peanuts. And after that, they're going to see how much margin they have left over. And based on that, they were thinking of signing Rashford on loan. So they're not even sure they're going to have enough margin to sign Rashford on loan. It's going to be very difficult that Barcelona will still have margin to sign Dumfries, even at 30 million euros. Because again, like I said a few moments ago, 1-to-1 rule doesn't mean that's it. Our problems are over. Sky opens up and the cash starts to rain on us. That just means that for every euro you make from a sale of a player, you can use it to sign a new one. Shin, member for 14 months. Let's go, baby. OG member anniversary. Do you find American commentary in soccer matches as cringe as I do? I swear I feel like I need to send my eardrums to therapy after every time I watch one. I actually do not watch football in English, whether it be American commentators or even English commentators, because I feel like they're equally boring. With English commentators, at least they know what they're talking about. So it's like informed boredom. Does that make sense? It's boring, but at least they know what they're saying. With American commentators, they don't know what the hell they're talking about, and they're boring. So it's like, I guess if you have to choose your poison, I would rather informed boredom. I think I just coined that. I like it. I'm gonna TM. That's a verbal trademark. So you cannot. I'm kidding. So yeah, I would rather informed boredom from English commentators versus idiotic boredom from American commentators. But either way, I don't watch football in English. I watch it in Spanish because it's way more exciting. So yeah. Mr. XP, he says, who will be a realistic striker to get for Barca? I've been hearing about Alvarez and Rashford, but who is a realistic striker? I mean, Rashford would be realistic because it would be a loan, but it's not really a what's called. He's not really a pure striker, right? He does play as a 9 sometimes, but he's not really a striker. And Alvarez, he is a striker, but is not realistic. Okay. Atletico Madrid paid how much? 110, 140 for him. He just became their most important player. They just signed him a year ago, so they haven't even amortized him. It means if they do agree to sell him by some miracle, because they're not going to, why would you? It's like Barcelona selling Lamine, right? I mean, I'm not saying Julian as good as Lamine, obviously not even close. But to them, it's their Lamine because he's the best player they have. So I don't see them agreeing to his sale, and even if they do, they're gonna want like an arm and a leg. I mean, 150 probably more, which I don't see. Which obviously Barcelona cannot afford. I mean, if we're talking about counting pennies to register a player that we already signed, Juan Garcia, and to trigger the clause of Nico and register him, I mean, there's just like no way. But anyways, let's do the last bit of news and then we'll do more comments. But we do have to talk about a request that Hansi Flick has made from Barcelona. The first request, Hansi Flick is insisting that Barcelona renew the contract of Eric Garcia. Now, Eric Garcia's contract expires next summer in 2026, so he has officially entered the final year of his contract because June 30th, that's when usually the contracts end. So Garcia has officially entered the final year of his contract. Hansi Flick counts on the player, considers him an important player for the squad because he has proven to be a solid substitute for Jules Koundé, plus his versatility. He could play a right back. He played left back. He could play as a center back. He could play as defensive midfielder. I mean, the only thing this guy's missing is putting on some gloves and say, all right, I'm going to be the goalkeeper for today. Plus, they're saying how Eddie Garcia is always very helpful with the younger players, even though he's young himself, but he's been very helpful with the young players during training. And of course, he's a player who's never complained. He puts his head down. He works. He doesn't care if he gets a lot of minutes, very few minutes. He's just there to help the team and to contribute to the team. Hansi Flick is incredibly happy with him, and he has asked Barcelona to please, let's get this contract renewal going. Of course, Barcelona were already planning to renew Eric. Eric wants to stay at the club, so that should not be a problem. It's just going to be a matter of time. Right now, Barcelona are focused on their exits, plus Nico Williams, right? Like Ansu Fati that just got completed. There's Pau Victor, Pablo Torre, Iñaki Peña, Ter Stegen, Christensen. Barcelona already working on those exits. And of course, on Nico Williams. And then they're going to continue working on the contract renewals because since Eric already is going to stay, there's no rush to do it like right now because, someone might sign him. He's already told the club, I want to stay. The club wants him to stay. And Flick is insisting that Barca do it as soon as they can. And the second request is in regards to Fermin Lopez, another player that Hansi Flick considers key to his team. And given that there's been so much interest in the player, including offers upwards of 70 million euros. There's been Chelsea, Bayern, you name it. Every team out there is interested in Fermin. And since, Barcelona could help this financial situation by selling Fermin, 70 million euros would go a long way in helping Barcelona register Nico and Juan Garcia. But Flick has told them, do not touch that guy. He's very, very important for me. Do not sell him. And of course, Barcelona were not planning to sell him anyway. The only way that Barca or Flick would allow Fermin to leave is if the player himself said, hey, I want to go. Then, of course, the club would agree to it. But right now, Fermin is staying. He wants to stay. And Flick asking Barcelona, yo, do not touch that guy and renew Eric already. All right. Of course, he said it in German. And then he said danke, because that's the only German word I know. All right. That is all the news for this live. Let's do some comments, and then we will end the live podcast. God's Child says, why are you people say a la Barça rather than saying Visca Barça, Forza Barça? I don't know. Play on words, jokes. I don't know. I haven't said it, by the way. Mahmoud says, hey, Mo, aside all that's going on, do you think if Messi comes back to Barca, that will affect that ongoing project negatively? Yes. Messi is, guys, like he's 38 years old. He's been playing in MLS for 2 years. He is not going to be anywhere near what Barcelona requires of their players. He's not going to be at the level where he can play a match every 3 days. He's not going to be at the level where he can compete in a Champions League. He's not going to be on the level of the demands of Hansi Flick, where he requires all his players to press, run, cover ground, lots of intensity. He's not there. Not because he doesn't have the skill or talent. Of course, he's the greatest player to ever play the sport. But we all get old. We all get slow. We all get weak. We all get old. And until we discover that fountain of youth, it's a dunzo. Gabriel says, hi, Mo. I've always admired your frankness in your podcast. Could you give me your prediction on what El Clásico could be this season, considering the current squad being built by Madrid? So that's one thing I don't do. I don't do predictions for matches. But even if I did, there's no way to tell. We haven't seen what Madrid has to offer, right? They just signed a bunch of players. They just got a new coach. And until we can see them during the regular season and how they're developing, how they're playing together, there's really no way to predict that. It's just weird. It's too early. It's way too early. It's kind of like trying to predict the weather for February 13th, 2026, right? Is it going to rain on that day? I don't know. It's way too far out in the future. Berkey says, lots of love and respect from Jamaica. Mo, continue to bring us all updates, my bro. We appreciate Visca Barça glory days ahead. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for your comment, for watching, and for your support. And winner, if there was ever a winner, is winner Harmony, who says winner from Nigeria. So glad to catch the live stream, and also more happy about Barcelona achieving the 1-1. Amen, my friend. Amen. And Justice Boyo says, hello, Mo. Sorry, this moved on me. There we go. Justice Boyo from the Gambia. I'm so happy with the steps and process Barcelona is taking towards their players and a structure Master Hansi Flick is building for the coming 10 years. Indeed, my friend. And PMWC says, for the price, I think Barca should really go for Grimaldo. Absolutely not. We don't need players that offer themselves to Madrid and then come crawling back when Madrid tells them no. And again, we don't have the money. Right now we're counting pennies to be able to register Nico and trigger his clause. And then if we have something left, we could sign Marcus on loan, Marcus Rashford. We're not going to be able to bring up 25 mil for Grimaldo for a position that's already covered. Cluster says, we are proud of our president. He is doing extremely well for the team. I'm proud of him, and Yamal should be given a proper management like Messi. We love him, and he got a lot to offer the team. Now, when you say management, do you mean like an agent management or like coaching him? What do you mean exactly? Let's see. What else? Mark says he cooked us because we had that bum Martin on that side. I think he cooked us, period. He was cooking us on both sides. I don't think it was just a Martin thing. He's just that good. Let's see. Mark says, does one-to-one work retroactively if Barca sells someone under the 60% rule and that money makes you under the one-to-one rule? Can you use the 100% or does that stay under 60%? It depends if it closed last year or this year. And when I say year, I mean fiscal year, not calendar year. Does that make sense? So yeah, like starting this fiscal year, anything that comes in will account as one-to-one. I think, pretty sure, but I can look it up. I can double check and let you know. And then let me see one more, and then we'll end this. But Mantamantis says, Mo, can you give a shout out to my hometown, Elslo? Elslo, where's Elslo? Now I have to Google it because now I don't know. All right, let's see. Elslo. Whoa. Elslo. Oh, Netherlands. That's awesome. Yes, shout out to Elslo in the Netherlands. Let's see. Where in the Netherlands is it? It is... Oh, dead in the middle. Well, no, it's not dead in the middle. It's to the east by the border with Germany. All right. Today I learned something new. Awesome. Well, thank you, my friend, for watching us all the way from Elslo, Netherlands. And to all of you, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment, and as always, peace, guys.